Good morning, and welcome to Vigilant Broadcasting. The station opportunity presents Underneath the Hat with your host, author Sherri Simmons, as she discusses topics to help us all take care of ourselves underneath the hat.
Good morning, and welcome to Underneath the Hat, an affiliate of Vigilant Broadcasting and the Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. My name is Sherri Simmons, your host, and our topic today will be love and marriage. If you're on Facebook, you can follow us now at Talk Radio TV Network, LLP. Or if you want to call in and share with us your love story, you can call in to discuss at 319-527-2634. My love story is very interesting. This is my second marriage, and I've always heard people say that sometimes the second time around is the best time. My first marriage, I got married when I was 23, but we were high school sweethearts. And it didn't end very well. We were married for 9 years, and due to infidelity, we ended the marriage. Within a year of my divorce, I met my husband Vince, and he was nothing like I expected. You know, we always determine the value of the present by how it's wrapped, and because he wasn't wrapped the way that I was accustomed to or used to, I almost lost out on one of the best things in my life. And so because of him, I'm here on this radio show, and I put out my book Underneath the Hat, and I've done all of the things that I've been dreaming about because God finally gave me someone who believed in me and allowed for me to be myself. So I can honestly say that I am truly blessed now the second time around because Vince loves me for Sherri and not for what I can do for him. And so we're going to have women call in today who are going to share their love stories and share with us how do they do it? How do they stay married for so long, given social media and all of the temptations that are out here now, yet they can still be loyal to the person that God has placed in their life. And then we're also going to hear from Miranda Chanel later, who's a clinician that's going to give us different strategies and tips that we can use to continue to build a strong foundation and continue to not lose ourselves in the process. We hear so often the statistic that marriages end with 50% being through a divorce. And so we want to make sure that those listening today don't fall privy to that statistic. And we're going to give you everything we can to make sure that you can be better than you were when you tuned in today. So if you can go to my Facebook page, Sherri Simmons, I'm starting the live feed so that you'll be able to be a part of it. You can call in. You can listen to us on the radio page, TV, Talk Radio TV Network, LLP. Make sure you share so that we're able to allow more people to get advice on what they should do in order to make sure that we don't fall privy to that 50% divorce rate. So one of our first guests will be KB Evans, and I actually met KB while at work. We worked together at a school in CPS, and I have learned so much from her because I've been able to see her follow her dreams of being a singer and to see her in a relationship with someone who truly respects her, honors her, values her, and allows for her to be herself. And it feels good to be able to have that type of example around. Marion Wright Edelman said in a quote that I love, you can't be what you don't see. And so I believe so often we end in divorce because we don't have good examples of what a good marriage should look like. Now, I'm in my late 30s, and I remember having parents that were married and grandparents that were married and great-grandparents that were married. But nowadays, the generations are getting younger and younger, and with the whole thing of social media, it's hard for people to stay loyal and respectful of the people that they're in relationships with. So oftentimes you have people doing things that they should not be doing because they don't feel that they have to respect the other person. So because I surround myself around people who have the type of relationships that I want to have, then it allows for me to be able to get checked when I need to. And so that's why I wanted to do this topic today, because 51% of relationships ending in divorce, that's half. So if there are two married couples in the room, based on that statistic, one of them is destined for divorce. That is a lot of broken homes. That's a lot of children that are affected. And coming from a family, a marriage that had two divorced parents, it's hard. Because my parents divorced when I was 10 years old. And I was a daddy's girl. Yes, my mother was in the home, but I was a daddy's girl. And so when he left, my world came tumbling down till I started to rebel and do things that I shouldn't have been doing because I was looking for their love from somewhere else. And so as parents, we don't realize that even though we tell our children, do as I say, not as I do, they're watching. And they ultimately end up doing what you tell them not to do and what they see you doing. So we have to be mindful of that. And if they come from a broken home where the parents don't communicate, there is always fighting and arguing, then they're going to think that that's the norm. And those will be the type of relationships that they will go after. So I just want to make sure that this topic allows for people to be able to assess the relationships that they're in and see how can we go about making sure that we are doing our best in order to make sure everything is how it needs to be. So now we have Jillian Stewart, who is the owner of Signature Taste by Jillian, on the line. Jillian, are you there?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am good. How are you all?
I'm good. I really want to thank you for calling in because I know you're busy catering events. So
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you for taking the time to call in. So our topic today is love and marriage. So first, Let's start off by telling our listeners your love story.
Okay, well, I'm actually on my second marriage, and in June we'll make 7 years married and 10 years together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this one is good, very, very good, actually.
I was just saying that this is my second marriage, and I hear that the second time around is always better than the first.
Yeah.
And so I can, honestly say that with Vince, I feel appreciated, and I'm able to live out the dreams that I always had, but was afraid to go after because of the respect and honor that he has for me. So now I'm able to do the things that I want to do without feeling bad about it.
Absolutely.
Yep. So what have you learned from the first one that has helped you with your second marriage?
My first marriage taught me that I am stronger than what I thought I was, right? It was rough. We had a lot of growing to do. We were extremely young when we got married. I wasn't even 21 yet, actually. And we just had, like, a lot of growing to do, and when it came to growing, we actually grew apart. So I just learned how strong I really was and how much I could really, like, endure. And it teaches me now to have patience and understand that I deserve everything that this man has given me. Like, I deserve it, and that was a struggle for me.
Yeah, I've been there. I was a first lady, so he was a pastor. And being in that type of relationship where he's used to being in charge of everything, everywhere he goes, and being the bright light in the room, felt like I had to dim my light in order for him to shine.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't until I got out of that relationship I realized that your light doesn't have to be dimmed in order for other people to be okay. And God provided me with somebody that was secure enough in himself to allow for me to be myself.
Right.
Yep. So I know that you and your husband both are business owners. So being in business, how do you handle disagreements?
I'm sorry, how do I handle who?
Disagreements.
Oh.
From the business aspect.
Well, from the business aspect, what we try to do is schedule time to talk about business and not allow for that to interfere with marriage time. And so when we have disagreements or whatever, I'm a person that I'm always going to research. And so I will provide the data and all of this to kind of get my point across, but just let them know that I actually took the time to take the extra steps into it. So our disagreements are not as much. It's just about the biggest disagreement that we have is actually believing in ourselves. Like, I tell my husband all the time, I wish you could see the man that I see. You know what I'm saying? Because he's so much bigger than what he shows. And I think that right there is our biggest struggle, just self-belief and belief in self. We're both not used to having someone push us and breathe life in us all the time. And so it's still an adjustment.
So with being in businesses together, how do you separate your business partner from your spouse?
So we have this big dry erase board, and it has calendar dates on it, and we schedule our business meetings, period. They have to be scheduled.
Okay.
Yeah, it can't interfere with us watching a movie. Hey, let me talk about this business. No. It has to be scheduled unless it's something that we're on the way to an event or something like that. I got an email or something like that. That's fine. But when it's our time, it's our time, period.
Okay. Now, what my husband and I, we have to, and some people think I'm crazy, because we have date night every Saturday. Like, every Saturday is date night because he's a tow truck driver. So, and I'm a teacher, so as I'm leaving for work, he's coming in. And once I come in from work, he's getting ready to leave out. So we only see each other on the weekends, really. So we want to make sure that we still keep things spicy and have time for each other, even though we know that we're both busy during the week. So how do you and your husband find time to be together and still keep the marriage spicy and healthy?
Well, we go out and we support our friends and stuff like that. And so a lot of times we find ourselves, like, we'll stop through to see a friend or something like that or whatever the event they have, and then we'll go someplace where nobody knows us to have our moment. And we try to do that. We try to do that weekly, but if we can't get to it weekly, what we'll do is we'll find a concert on TV and just close off the living room, and we'll have wine or whatever and watch a concert or something like that. Live bands and stuff like that on TV.
So what has been the biggest lesson you've learned as a wife?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
What has been the biggest lesson that you've learned as a wife?
Girl, to have patience, child.
Amen.
You have to have so much patience. And you have to watch your tongue. Your tongue is powerful. And so for me, being just so sharp at the tongue. I have to learn when there is a time for that and just be patient that understanding is coming as long as I present the information in a loving, endearing way and not with a sharp tongue.
Yes, I'm very quiet and reserved, and so I sometimes find myself having to tell Vince, okay, I need a minute, because I feel my blood boiling, and I know that when I get to a point, things are going to come out that shouldn't. So I have to end up telling him, okay, I need a minute. I need a minute. And so being able to, I think I've grown in that aspect to where normally I would just fly off the handle. But this time I make sure that I warn him ahead of time, so I'm reflecting on the fact that, okay, I'm about to go to a bad spot, so that I don't say something that I'll regret later.
Yeah, I think that's important as wives, but not only as wives, as human beings, that you are very tactful about what you say and how your delivery is, because words can hurt. And they actually, you speak in life through your words, and you never know what that person is going through that you're talking to. And so it's contingent on how you say it. You know what I'm saying? You never know what effect your words might have on someone. So I am still learning that.
Okay. Now, one final question so I can let you get back to work. What is one thing that you love about your husband and one thing you have grown to love about your husband?
Well, I'm going to start with the grown love, girl. I've grown to, I don't know if I can say love, but understand this snoring thing, child, because he snores so loud, Lord. Lord. Yeah. But,
I can't talk because I do too. Yes.
But the one thing that I love about him the most is the way he loves me. He does not allow for me to have pain or feel bad. It's not like where I'm feeling down and he's around here smiling. No, his number one priority is making sure that I'm happy, and the way that he loves me is tremendous. It's amazing, actually.
I would have to say the one thing I love about him is he's so motivating. Like the fact that I'm doing this radio show and I've written the book. The book, it was written for 2-3 years when I met him, but it was him pushing me, like you said, not being used to being in a relationship where someone pushed you and motivated you. So I was like, I don't know. But he was always in my corner, always made sure that I did all of the things that I said I wanted to do. And he was never intimidated by it, which was the opposite of my first marriage.
Tell me about it, child.
Yes. The one thing I have grown to love, he is very forgetful, and it bothers me. So I have to remember. I'm like, man, I got my own stuff, and I got to remember what you need to do. And so I'm working on it. I think I'm going to get a dry erase board and start writing his stuff down. Somewhere where he can see it. Yes, because it's not working right now. But I do want to say this. When I first met you and your husband, it was in that trip we all took to Vegas.
Right.
And I was the I was the ninth wheel because it was all couples. But I was just getting old, ending my relationship with a divorce when I came on this trip.
Right.
And I would have to say that I learned so much from watching all of you couples on that trip, because I had never been around a group of men who respected their women the way that those husbands did. And I was glad God allowed for me to go on this trip to see how it can be after coming out of what I had just been through. And to be able to, to be around men who were comfortable enough with themselves to have women who may have been in a higher position than them or who may have made more money than them, but they were still man enough to be able to respect them and honor them and love them. I was like, so it can be like this? So I want to thank you and your husband and all the other couples that were there for showing me that it is possible to be in a loving relationship.
Yes, we really appreciate that. We are extremely happy for you.
Thank you so much. So, again, I want to thank you for calling in, and I'll let you get back to work.
All right.
And we will be
Thank you all so much for having me. All righty. Y'all have a good one.
All right. You too. So that was Jillian Stewart, the owner of Signature Taste by Jillian, Jelian. Make sure you go check her out. She has a website. She's on Facebook and Instagram. She's a wonderful caterer, and I'll be working with her soon with my young ladies at All Times, luncheon in June. So go and check her out. Signature Taste by Jillian, Jelian. So we're going to take a quick break. And we'll be back. This is Underneath the Hat, and our topic today is love and marriage. Talk to you soon.
Welcome back to Underneath the Hat with your host, author Sherri Simmons.
Good morning. Welcome back to Underneath the Hat. I'm your host, Sherri Simmons, and our topic today is love and marriage. If you're on Facebook, you can check us out live on Talk Radio TV Network LLP, or you can go to my page, Sherri Simmons, Sherri. I've started hosted a viewing party of the episode now. If you want to call in and discuss love and marriage, share your love story with us. If you have any questions, you can reach us at 319-527-2634. So I've already had my first caller, which is Jillian Stewart. She is the owner of Signature Taste by Jillian, Jelian, and she shared with us about her relationship with her husband and all of the things that she's learned. She's part of the second time around crew, as I call them. So she's been divorced, but now she's in a new marriage, similar to myself. And we discussed the things that she has learned from her first one that has helped her in her second. Also, things that she loved about her husband and things that she's growing to love and tolerate. I also shared how I love the fact that my husband motivates me, but I'm still working on his forgetfulness. So now we're going to have our next caller, which is Shantae Allen. Shantae, are you there?
Good morning, Sherri.
Good morning, Shantae. How are you?
I am awesome. How are you?
I'm good. So I want to thank you for calling in. I know Saturday is everybody's busy day, especially as teachers.
Right.
Yes. So let's just jump right on in. So our topic today is love and marriage. So if you could share with the audience your love story.
Okay, so I actually met my husband through his mother.
Oh, okay.
We started working together for an agency called CAS, and it was a program that we went around to elementary schools and talked to students about the dangers of drug and alcohol. This is right after I had graduated college, and I hadn't jumped into teaching quite yet.
Okay.
So we started working together, and she explained to me that she had just moved to the area that I lived in, and she was getting ready to have a housewarming party. So she invited me to her housewarming party. She explained to me that she wanted to introduce me to her son. You know, she thought that we would kind of hit it off pretty well. So I was a little skeptical. I just got out of a relationship. I wasn't trying to date anybody. I was just trying to figure out career-wise where I wanted to end up teaching. But I thought I would entertain the option, you know. So I go to her housewarming party, and I meet my husband, Brandon, and we kind of chatted and kind of started talking, realized we had some similarities, and literally ever since that day, like, we were inseparable.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Now, that's a different type of love story because, you know, normally when you get married, you have the whole bad vibe of in-laws. So your in-laws already liked you.
My
so
mother-in-law.
How has that relationship been?
You know what? She is wonderful. She's very supportive. She is very just wise. She prays for me and my husband all the time. And she's funny. So she has a great sense of humor, so that definitely helps too. But yeah, I've had a wonderful relationship with my mother-in-law, and I mean, I owe meeting my husband to her. Yes.
So what is the biggest lesson that you've learned from your husband?
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned in this journey of marriage is forgiveness. It's, you know, in relationships and especially in marriage, things are going to be said, things are going to be done. But when you make that commitment before God, you know, it's different. You know, you have to have that heart of forgiveness and really forgive. You know, you can't say I forgive you and then, you know, the next day I ain't cleaning the house and cooking dinner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, it has to be that true forgiveness. So I think he and I both have learned on that journey that we have to be very vigilant and quick to forgive.
Because that's one thing I learned. I realized sometimes I was too forgiving given my first relationship, my first marriage, and how I was willing to deal with some foolishness that I should have been running away from. But I believe that everything prepares you for your next journey or your next test. So me being able to forgive the first one allowed for me to be better at it with Vince. And so being in the second time around crew, where this is my second marriage, there are things that I can forgive him for that other people may not understand, but because of the things I went through in the first marriage, I'm able to do it easier and not end up ruining a relationship because I was still in the mindset of that's a trigger for me because of what the first one did.
Exactly. And you said a couple of important points, Sherri, there too. And it's sometimes, the way that I feel, and I'm learning this in marriage too, it's not for other people to understand. You know, it's you and your husband in this battle together, and the forgiveness has to be reciprocated. You know, I heard you say the first time around you were forgiven, so I'm assuming maybe your husband wasn't as forgiving, your ex-husband wasn't as forgiving. And the forgiveness definitely has to go both ways. You know, I have to be willing to forgive, and my husband has to show me that same respect. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Now, I was watching TV. I was watching a reel yesterday, and they were talking about weddings and how some people were willing to sacrifice different parts of their weddings in order to accommodate their guests. And my first wedding, we had over 400 people.
Oh,
but
wow.
The second one, I was sitting there watching last night, and I'm like, Lord, I'm glad we only had 20 people at the house the second time. Because I realized that some of the same people who were in that room watching were some of the same people doing things with him that they shouldn't have been doing. And so
they
I
weren't
told
in your
the Lord,
corner.
Exactly. I only wanted people that were going to hold me to the fire, hold Vince accountable for what he may do or may say, so that we can continue to stay married. And that 400 dwindled down to 20.
Absolutely.
So do you feel that you have a circle or a support system that you and Brandon can go to if things get rough, that you can turn to and get wisdom from in order to help to keep your marriage going?
Definitely. I definitely do. In the beginning, I didn't really comprehend. When we first we've been married, it will be 13 years next week.
Wow.
And in the beginning, in the beginning, I didn't understand fully what that was supposed to be and what that looked like. So I made some mistakes in the beginning of our relationship, for lack of better words, just sharing my business with everybody.
Right. Yeah.
And I learned quickly that that's not how it's supposed to be, and that's not how things are supposed to operate. And some of the people that I was sharing things with, they weren't even married. These are some of my single friends. Yes, and so I learned a hard lesson about who I need to. First of all, I go to God. God is number one person I go to. And from there, I try to let him guide me as to my next steps when my husband and I are on the outs or if we have a disagreement. And a lot of times we're able to sit down and communicate and resolve it. But I do have a small network, small as in 2 people that I can talk to when, after I go to God and I feel led to kind of get some things off, because sometimes you just need to. So I do have 2 people that are really in our corner, who are rooting for us, who hold me accountable when I'm wrong. Because, there's those times where we feel slighted or we feel like, I was right in saying this and doing this, and they'll be like, no, Shantae, you weren't. You were wrong, honey. Yeah. And you need to go apologize and make this thing right now.
Because my husband, he tells me he has his core group of guys, and they tell him, just like you said, you need to go apologize. You didn't have to say it like that. You should have did this, that, and the other. And I think I shared with the audience at the beginning of the show how that 51% of marriages ending in divorce, that statistic has been growing tremendously. And I think it's ultimately because we're so afraid to tell our stories and to share with people. And so because we don't want people to know our business and afraid people are going to tell somebody else, then we end up missing out on the opportunity to get wisdom from older couples that have gone through the same things we've gone through.
Yes, definitely. And I like how you said that, older couples, definitely. People who have been through it and can give you that, the little thing you're tripping about right now, sis, that too shall pass. You'll be fine. He didn't put his laundry up in the basket. You'll make it to the next day. Those type of things that for some people can break, can make or break their marriage.
Yeah. And also I'm glad you said about listening to people who are single. I mean, I love single people. They're great. But it's certain things you just can't tell a married person. Just like certain things a person with no kids can tell someone who has kids.
Exactly.
So I think often those that are married because their good friends are still single, and they're so used to going to their good friends for advice that they ultimately end up getting advice from the mindset of a single person who doesn't realize the vows that were taken and the sacrifices that have to be made.
Exactly. And that's the problem that I fell in, like I said, when me and my husband first got married, is that I didn't fully adopt that I'm a married woman now. So I was listening to some advice from my single friends, and it wasn't the best advice. It was not the best advice. And so I had to learn after getting involved in our church and meeting some married couples. We started going on we do a married couples retreat every year. and we've connected every year for the past, I think about 6 years, done it. And so we've connected with married couples there, and I had to get into that mindset of, and I still love my single friends, like you said, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to marriage advice, I know I cannot talk to them about that because they have this single person mindset, and they mean well in their mindset, but I took a vow before God, and I want to make this thing work. So what you're suggesting is not working for what I need to do for my family and for my marriage.
Now, one thing that I love seeing on Facebook with you and your husband is that you all work out together. Now, I have heard, and I believe this too, it's just certain places I can't go with my husband because men tend to have a different mindset when it comes to that gym. Whereas I'm trying not to sweat too much, don't bother me, let me do what I want to do. So how do you and your husband still stay married after spending time in the gym?
You know what? The gym is actually kind of like our thing. You know, some married couples just have that thing. Like it may be that they enjoy skating together, or they enjoy trying new restaurants, or they, you know, just enjoying getting in the car and going out for a drive. That's our thing. We actually connect very well at the gym. We connect very well. We both, you know, get whatever this day we decide to go. And most of the days of the week, we usually go by ourselves because of our work schedule. But at least maybe 2 days a week, we'll probably get in together. We discuss what body part we're going to work on. We get there, we spot each other, we motivate each other. You know, we take selfies and post them, you know, and I mean, it's a great time. It's actually a great place for us to connect. It really is because our son, you know, it's just me and him at that moment. Our son usually goes to the kids club, and, you know, we talk, we laugh, we joke, we sweat, you know, we get a good workout, and then afterwards we usually may go somewhere and get a bite to eat. And, I mean, it's actually a really good time for us. We connect very, very well at the gym.
Okay, so, now I understand it. Because my husband and I, because he's a tow truck driver, we are like 2 shifts passing. When I'm getting off work, he's getting ready to go. When I'm getting ready to go, he's coming. So we only see each other on the weekend. So every Saturday we have date night. And nothing can come between date night. Because that's our opportunity to go out, hang out, look each other in the face, have conversations about what has happened during the week. And so I can understand that you all, it's the gym, us is dinner or a movie. And do you find that it's very important to your marriage that you have that quality time?
Definitely. More so now than ever. Definitely. Especially, like I said, you know, with him working, me working, we have a son. He's involved in a lot of sports. He has a baseball game later today. He has a baseball game tomorrow. So it's easily to get mundane and get comfortable. So we definitely have to be a lot more intentional on carving out time where it's just me and him. And so, like I said, the gym is one place where, you know, we take advantage of that and, you know, reconnect and laugh and joke and plan and dream and, you know, all those wonderful things.
Yeah. Now, what is one thing you love about your husband, and what is one thing you have grown to love about your husband?
One thing I love about my husband is that he has the biggest heart. And it's interesting because when people encounter him, I tell him he needs to smile more because he's always frowning and grimacing. And because he works out and kind of has this muscular physique, people are kind of taken away by him when they first meet, or they think he's mean, or they think he's, you know. And I'm like, he has such a big heart. He is so kind and so compassionate. I mean, he will do anything he can for anybody. If anybody needs help with anything, he will try to make that happen. So that's one of the things that actually attracted me to him when we first met. But, you know, he's easy on the eye too. But that's definitely one thing that attracted me was right. You know, it helps. It helps. One thing I've grown to love. I'm pretty sure I have undiagnosed OCD. And my husband doesn't cater to my OCD very well. So I've grown to try to not be so picky about certain things, you know. if the dishes are in there overnight, it's fine. It'll be okay. If the bed's not made up, it's okay. He can make it up when he comes. So I've learned to kind of deal with those things and understand that we come from different families. We come from different environments. We come from different upbringings, and how I was raised, of course, may not be how he was raised. So I cannot force those things on him. I can explain to him, how I feel about certain things, and I have to come to the grips. Like I said, with there's certain things, because I'm pretty sure I have OCD, that it's okay if it's not done right now. So I've grown to love the fact, or I've grown to love him in trying to accommodate my over cleanliness.
Yeah. Well, my husband, I'm going to love the fact that he's forgetful and he expects me to remember all of his stuff plus mine. So I decided today I'm just going to get him a dry erase board and just write all his stuff down. So just like I make myself list, he can make his own.
Okay.
So that he can stop asking me to remember everything he needs to do plus what it is I need to do as well.
Right, exactly.
Yes. Well, I definitely want to thank you for calling in and sharing your love story, and tell your son good luck on his game today.
Thank you, Sherri. I appreciate it so much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that was just Shantae Allen sharing her story. And now we have Denise Stewart, who's on the line. Denise, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, Niecy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling in.
Anytime.
All right, so we're discussing love and marriage. So why don't you share with the audience your love story?
Well, let's see. My husband and I met at work, actually like 15 years ago, and I was doing the student teaching at the job and ended up being his assistant. Then I went back to school and furthered my career in education, and during that time, I was still his assistant. He's a physical education teacher. So we spent a lot of time together. We saw each other every day. We created projects and things of that nature together. At that time, I was totally not interested in dating someone that I work with, but God saw different. We continued to work together and get to know each other, and found out that we enjoy and love a lot of the same things. We love traveling. We love laughing. We love going out to eat. We just love to explore. And that was something that I hadn't had in my previous marriage. So coming into this was a little scary, a little tricky. But what we did was continue to get to know each other. And then we decided to make it official. Where we made it official, which means all other bets was off. So we began dating, still traveling and having a good time and enjoying each other's company. And then after 3 years, he had proposed to me on Christmas Eve at his mom's house. They had their Christmas annual gathering, and we've been together ever since. So we've been married 8 years now with a set of twin girls, and life is good. It's good. We have our trials and tribulations, but working it out together as a team, we gonna get through it.
Yeah. Now
and that's
you said
where we at.
Now you said at first that you started working together, and now because I know you all personally, I know that you all still work together with your businesses.
Yes.
So how do you separate work versus home?
Well, what I try to do is I try to leave work at 8 o'clock. I cut it off, 8 p.m. If I'm at home, I cut it off. I don't talk business with him anymore. once 8 p.m. reach, that means that it becomes husband and wife and family and kids time. Let's discuss the family. So I try to put a limit on my time because if not, work will take over.
Yeah.
Work will take over. And yes, we do have 2 daycare centers that we run, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of communication. So I try not to bombard him all day, every day with all of the information. So I try to cut it off at 8 p.m. And it's been working so far. Sometimes I go over a little bit and I'd be like, you know what, close up the books, work is over. So I have to put some limitations on things.
Yeah, that's something Vincent and I do. He's like, okay, you got 10 minutes. So I get the vent about what happened with work, and then that's it.
Yes, because that 10 minutes can go into an hour, 2 hours, and then all day. And you can lose focus on you two versus to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
So because I see you all on Facebook, you all travel, you living your best life, basically. So
we are.
Yes, y'all. So how do you go about making sure that you find time to do the things that you like to do that attracted you all to each other? Because you said you like to travel and have fun. So how do you find the time to do that?
Well, we set boundaries. We set boundaries. If we're traveling for work or we're traveling for, because my husband is a Sigma and now I'm a Zeta, we have conferences and things of that nature that we do together. But we set boundaries to try to keep personal. If we're going to do something with work, we're going to set some time that we're going to do something for personal. So if we know that we have not got no personal time in, we're going to take a trip, whether it's for the weekend, whether it's for 4 days, we're doing something just to get away, to get our me time back together, our us time, let me say, back together. Right. So we make it happen. We give to work, we give to ourselves. We give to work, we give to ourselves. So that's how we try to do it. Because if not, it can be a disaster.
Yeah. Because I have to make Vince take off because he's a man's man. Like, I just want to work. So I have to make him take off, and he's all about taking care of his family. So I've had to tell him when we first got married, don't give your whole check to the house. God didn't allow for you to work and you not enjoy the fruits of your labor.
That's true.
So now we're traveling more, and when we go out, I pick a place, then he picks a place, so that we don't have the same mundane things that we do. And now I know one thing that I see you do is you also spend time with your girls without your husband. So how do you balance not losing yourself in the process, yet still being wife and mom?
Well, it can easily happen if you don't gain control of that neither. I've sat down with my husband to let him know that I wear multiple hats, and I'm spread across the table 50 ways plus. So when I have a planner, that I plan things to say, hey, this weekend is going to be for the girls. It's going to be mom and daughter time. These 2 weeks is going to be for the husband. It's going to be hubby time. And then you have your work time. So I tend to fall back on my planner so that I can live out everything that I plan to do. Because if not, it won't work. It just won't work. And I will find myself unhappy because I feel like I'm lacking in some areas. So I try my best to follow my planner to the best of my ability. And if I find myself slipping, my husband is right there to pull my little coattail and say, okay, baby, you need to stay focused, or you need to do this. And I'd be like, you know what, you're right. I can detour sometimes because my mind just wanders on a whole lot of things that needs to be done, I want to do, that I haven't done or I'm thinking about doing. And I have him as that partner to pull my coattail to bring me back to reality. Like, look, we're going to finish this, then we'll go to this. You said that you're going to do this with the girls. Now do that, and then we'll discuss this over here later.
Right.
So it's been great. I can't do it all by myself. And with him by my side, as my best friend, as my lover, as my husband, my confidant, we try to strive to, we're not perfect, but we try to strive to work together and communicate. That is one thing that I can get so caught up doing everything else that I will lose communication with him, which is not right. And he is always there to say, hey, we're not communicating. And I love that about him because he helps me out. He balances me out completely.
Yeah, that's a good one for a man to say, let's talk.
Yes,
that really happens.
Oh, he loves to talk. And people on the outside look at him and be like, oh, he's mean. He don't like to talk. But once you get to know him, he will talk your ear off. He loves to talk. And if you talk to him, you will see that he is highly intelligent about the things that he's saying. And it's great because I don't know everything.
Right.
He don't know everything. So what we both know together, we make it happen.
Right. Well, Missy, I want to thank you for calling in and sharing you and John's love story. And there were so many things you shared that the listeners can adhere to. And so, again, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Anytime, and I am so glad that you asked me to call in because I love this. And I am so happy for you, Sherri. I'm going to keep saying it again. I am so happy for you. When I see you and your husband on Facebook and you just smiling and glowing, that brings more life to me because I love it. I love it. Enjoy life and continue being happy.
Will do. You too.
All right. Love you. Bye-bye.
All right. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was just Missy Stewart sharing her love story. And now to wrap it all up, we have Miranda Chanel of Moments with Miranda. Miranda, are you there?
I am here. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
All right. So I've had three guests call in, sharing their love stories. We've had two of them that were part of the second time around crew where they were divorced and now they're remarried and more happy than they were in the first one. They've also talked about communication and how important it is. So what are some of the tidbits that those that are married and trying to stay that way should focus on when it comes to communication?
Okay. So when it comes to communication, you have to understand that communication has to be the foundation of your relationship. There is no way that your marriage or any other type of relationship is going to flourish if you don't have the ability to communicate effectively. So that means not just knowing how to talk, but knowing how to listen and knowing when to talk and knowing when to listen and knowing when to respond and knowing when to not respond. Understanding that you're not going to win every argument, knowing that sometimes you just got to bow out gracefully because it's much bigger to win the war than it is to win the battle. And so when it comes down to communication, you've got to figure out how your partner communicates so that you can learn how to communicate in a language in which they understand. If you speak English and they speak Arabic, it doesn't matter how much you talk, they're never going to get it. So the same thing happens in marriage and in relationships. If we don't figure out how our partners communicate, what it is that they like, what it is that they understand, then you're just spending a whole lot of time running off at the mouth and really not saying anything.
So this reminds me of the book, The 5 Love Languages. So do you think that that is a book, or they have a website where you can actually go and take the quiz to see what your love language is? Is that something that you would suggest to married couples?
I think it's a great tool. I really do think it's a great tool. not just in the matter of communication, but in the manner in which you love on your partner, period. A lot of times in relationships, the reason that relationships fail is because we love people the way we think they should be loved, and we don't love them in the way that they need to be loved. And so we get caught up in the fact that, well, I bought her everything she asked for, but that wasn't what she was looking for. She wasn't looking for your money. She was looking for your time. He was looking for your support. He was looking for you to pour back into him, and all you could say was, well, I cleaned up the house while he was gone. And so the 5 love languages really does tell you, like, you examining you as a person of what it is that pours back into you, because we all really do speak different love languages. And so until you understand, like, this is what refills my partner, and this is what makes them feel loved, and this is what makes them feel connected, you'll spend years upon years trying to figure out why they don't understand how you love them or how much you love them, when in reality you're giving them what you think they deserve and not what they're asking for.
Yes, because I've made my husband take it, and his is physical touch, whereas mine is words of affirmation. But I used to be all about physical touch, and then things happen where your love language actually changes depending on the things that you go through. So now that we know one another's language, we know how to, like you said, show love in that way.
Right. Yeah, and, I mean, life is going to continue to happen. And so there are going to be some times where something is going to happen and you're going to realize, oh, I used to really like this, but now maybe I don't like it anymore. Or your partner's love language is a love language that rises up anxiety or PTSD of something that's happened in your life previously. So say your partner's love language is physical touch, but you've been molested or you've been abused or you've been raped or any of those things. Physical touch may actually cause you to throw up your defense mechanisms because that type of touch has caused you pain in the past. You have to be able to communicate to your partner that this makes me feel this way, so that they can learn how to do it in a way that's healing to you, and you can receive it in the manner in which it's trying to be given, as opposed to automatically assuming that everybody who does this is doing it from a place of trying to harm you. So it does come back to communication. It comes back to being willing to be transparent with your partner, of being willing to share all of the secrets that you never really wanted to share with anybody else, because when it comes down to marriage, you took these vows till the end, which means they get all of the stuff that you already went through and all of the stuff that's still yet coming. And so it's unfair to our partners for them to have to deal with us in the place that we stand today when they don't know the individual we were 5, 10, 12, 15 years ago. We have to be transparent with them for those relationships to continue to be able to grow in a healthy space, or else we're going to spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out what is wrong with him now, not knowing that what you do is triggering something that was done to him before, or him going, why isn't she affection? Why won't she receive my affection? Not knowing that triggers something that you went through 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Now, before we sign off, what is some of, like 2 or 3 tidbits of things that married couples, newlyweds should focus on so that they can continue to build their relationship with one another?
Okay. So, number 1, your marriage should be a 3-fold cord. Okay, the Bible talks about 3-fold cords. The 3 folds in those cords are you, your spouse, and God. I said all of that to say, keep other people out of your business. I know that it becomes easy to sit around and talk with our girlfriends or talk with our guy friends in the man cave or whatever for the gentlemen, or we go back and we talk to our siblings or our mothers, our fathers or whatever. But what is personal needs to remain personal, because a lot of times we get over things and we back in love and then people still mad. They trying to figure out, girl, he slapped you. Why you still there? You just said he didn't pay the light bills. Y'all having a candlelight dinner in the dark? That ain't cute. You know what I'm saying? And so there is some business that needs to remain your business. If it is your marriage, everything is not supposed to be public knowledge. They weren't with you when you said your vows. I mean, they might have been watching, but they weren't exchanging them. They weren't with you in the process of courting. They weren't with you when you were seeking God about, is this the right person? So everybody doesn't need to know everything. Okay. That's my number 1 tip. My number 2 tip, I'm only going to give you 2. I'm going to give you 1. Don't tell everybody everything. The second and last tip that I'm going to tell you is love like you've never been hurt before.
Mm.
I'm going to say it again.
Because I'm working on it.
Again.
Yes.
Listen, love like you've never been hurt before. We have the tendency of bringing all of our pain and all of our healing processes and all of our anxieties and all of our past into new relationships, even into our marriages. And we don't give our partner the opportunity to love us from a space of vulnerability. We don't allow them to build a fresh foundation. We don't allow them to give us anything that we've never gotten because we're so damaged and we're so guarded from the things that didn't work before. And so my challenge to people that are married, I don't care if you've been married for 2 days or 2 years or 22 years, learn to love like you've never been hurt before. Learn to forgive from a place of true forgiveness so that you have the ability to receive what is being offered and provided to you. We miss the opportunity to love and to be loved so often because we're scared that it's going to turn out the way that it turned out before. I'm scared to forgive him because what if he does it again? I'm scared to let her back in because what if she hurts me again? I'm scared to get married again because my first marriage didn't work. But if we could love from a place of, yeah, this one hurt me, but what if he didn't? What if you could go back to the virgin? What if you could go back to the girl before she got divorced? What if you could go back to the guy before he was molested as a child? What if you could go back to that little kid, that innocence of love that we have as children, where everything excites us, where we're just excited when people show up. We're excited when people take us out. We're excited when we go into a new space. We're excited when we hear something new, like that old school, I'm 17 years old, laying on the floor talking to Bae until my mom will pick up the phone and tell me to hang up. Like, can you go back to that space and love from that space where it was innocent and it was pure? And I promise you, if you can do that, if you can train your mind to rewind and try it again, you will continue to get new things in your marriage, and you'll continue to go into new places, even for yourself and for your identity and in understanding who you are as a man and a woman and what you desire to be ultimately in life. When you begin to love as if you've never been hurt, then you get to love in a way that you've never experienced.
Well. Miranda, you never
disappoint.
That's why.
I'm so sorry.
And it was it touched on everything we're talking about today. So you never disappoint. That is why I call you all the time. So I will definitely be in touch. Thank you so much for calling in, and we will definitely be in touch.
Thank you so much. I'm so proud and so grateful for every opportunity. You are doing amazing things, Sherri, and I just want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing and to let you know that God is pleased with your sacrifice.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. Well, I know I'm 3 minutes over. Sorry, Justin, but oh, my God. This is why I call Miranda, because she gives it to you the way it needs to be said, no holds barred, and that basically wrapped up everything that we talked about. I want to thank my guests, Shantae, Nisi, Jillian, and Miranda for calling in to talk about love and marriage. Today, I don't know if you can hear from my voice, but I'm preparing for my Chicago Mass concert tonight at Sweet Holy Spirit at 7 p.m. Tickets are still available at the door for $17. Join me if you can. You can go to my website, SherriSimmons.com. You can check me out on Facebook and Instagram at Underneath the Hat. Wow. That's all I can say. You can check out my YouTube channel, Underneath the Hat Web Series, where we actually have a video of this same topic with myself and the Taylors and Miranda around love and marriage. So go ahead, subscribe, leave a comment, share it. Next week, because it's Mother's Day weekend, I'm going to do an episode called Dear Mama, where we get to call in and share our favorite mother stories and the things that we've learned from this woman that has been there for us through thick and thin. I want to thank everyone. This is Underneath the Hat, an affiliate of Vigilant Broadcasting and the Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. My name is Sherri Simmons, and remember to take care of yourself underneath the hat.
Thank you for tuning in to Underneath the Hat radio show. We will see you here again next Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Follow Sherri on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Underneath the Hat, and visit her website, sherrisimmons.com. Always remember to take care of yourself underneath the hat. See you next week.